What is up, DTube? So today I want to talk a little bit about HEX flip Ethereum math. So I thought this was pretty interesting because I was like curious myself when I went to HEX Live today, and I basically saw that even with the 39% drop of the HEX value from the all-time high, it was still top 21 cryptocurrency 49% into the launch phase. So I was kind of curious, okay, what does it take to flip Ethereum? And that's what I want to talk a little bit about in this video. So we need some data for this, and I already ran the data, but let's go to Hex info, and we can see the global data here is basically, let's see here. Okay, so we are 100 day, we are on day 174, and I've done the math here. So we have non-locked hex 182.45 billion coins. We can round that up to 182.5 billion coins. 182 billion coins in 174 days, so that's around half. And I've done the math. It's around 1 billion coins, 45 million coins coming into circulation per day. That's non-locked hex. And if you would run the whole launch phase with these numbers, 351 days, you basically come to 366.7 million 366.7 billion coins. And we can round that up to 367 billion non-locked coins on November 19th if these stats hold up, if you see the same kind of stats. We may see other stats. We may see more locked coins or more non-locked coins, who knows. But at the moment, the stats points to 367, rounded up, 367 billion non-locked coins in on November 19th, 2020, on the big payday. So let's do some quick math here with the current prices. So 367 billion, and I'm gonna go to hex.live to get the current real-time price. So the current price is 0.00396. So let's take 367 billion times that and see what the non-locked market cap would be. So we get, at these prices, we get around, is that true? Oh, wait a sec. I made it wrong. 367 billion times 0.00396. You get a market cap of 1.4 billion, which would put, that would basically put, it would put HEX as a top 12 coin or something like that. But that is the math that is based on just the current price. I don't look at any price increases or any price drops. So now when we know that HEX is up at the moment, how much is it up? Since its all-time low in USD, it's up 69x. So if it's up 69x halfway through, I mean, it seems like, since the design is the same, why wouldn't it just do what it has done in the past? Now, we don't know what it's going to do, can go to zero from here, but if we would assume a little bit fun, so I did some fun math. If it would first go up to, let's say, 39%, up to its all-time high of 0.0064, if we go with that, and let's say a 10x from that, so earlier, so now we're only up 69x, but earlier this month we were up 112x, I think. So if we would count on, so just 50% into the launch phase, let's just count 10% of the performance, of the amazing performance that we saw the first couple of months here of HEX. Let's just count at 10% of that. That would be a 10x. A 10x on top of, I guess, a 10x on top of 0.0064. what that would bring the cost per 1 hex at 6 cents, or actually 0.064. So halfway to, I mean, it's not really 7 cents, it's not really 6 cents, it's like in between. So if we count with that, a 10x from the all-time high, okay, so 6 cents times 367 billion coins, that would bring the market cap of HEX, the non-locked coins, just the non-locked HEX, to 23 billion market cap. 23.48 billion market cap to be exact. Now, if we go and look at where would that bring us in the CoinGecko. So if we look in CoinGecko now, we see that Ethereum sitting at 22.9 billion market cap. So Hex would do a flippening of Ethereum if you had the same kind of stats on non-locked coins, and if you only would go up to all-time high again and then do a 10x from there, yes, Hex actually would then flip Ethereum, and it would be top to cryptocurrency, which is, I gotta say, man, that's pretty cool. So you can see that it doesn't really take, I mean, sure, it takes a lot because it's like a 10x. It's harder to do a 10x again from the current prices because that would take way more. So even when I say, so for example, if you would do a 10x, from here, or let's say 10x from 112x, that would actually be a 1000x, 1000x from people that got in at the lowest spot. So in a way, when I say 10% of the previous performance, that would still kind of take a lot of economic math. So because of math, but it still is pretty interesting because we kind of have some fundamentals in the Hex smart contract, which kind of like the share price always kind of going up, and it's like, it kind of seems like eventually people would kind of be like, maybe I want to get a better deal. You also have this very interesting thing about humans, and that is that if something is higher value, many times they value it more. So this can be a thing, for example, with Bitcoin, even, that people just value it more just because it has a higher value. This is same as Gucci and all these brands when they have when they put a high price on a product. Many times people think it's more valuable then. So it's very interesting, this thing about prices, that even when the price goes up more and more and more on the Hex thing, it actually may cause more people to eventually look at it as something more trustworthy, because they see that, well, if this kind of has a high price, it seems like it actually must be worth what the kind of the market thinks about it. So I think it's super fascinating that it only takes a 10x from the all-time high to actually flip Ethereum, if Ethereum would have the same kind of if Ethereum would stay at the same price as it is right now. Now, there are also other very interesting aspects into this, and that is that not only do we have seen that Hex has made massive gains against in USD, but we also see how it gained against Ethereum a lot. It has done that in the past. So you can also get like this double win effect, that even if Hex, or even if Ethereum goes up a lot, it also may cause so Hex gains even more against Ethereum. And if it also gains against Ethereum and USD, it means that it can sometimes do this like double win effect, which is kind of cool. And you really need to look at it closer to like fully grasp how that can kind of work. Of course, there is no promises, there is no expectations here, but it still is kind of interesting how this smart contract potentially can kind of keep performing when you are looking at the real data. So flipping of Ethereum, it's like, it sounds like this like super impossible thing maybe right now, that an ERC20 coin can flip the main kind of ETH coin. But you have to understand that smart contracts are kind of intelligent, right? They're kind of, you can design them in very, very intelligent ways that may do so people act in different ways that kind of make so you get a better overall performance. You also have to understand that this can happen fairly fast. I mean, a 10x from the all-time high, and we are just in May. And we also have to understand that Ethereum, how much is it down really? Like, so Ethereum came in, I think like 2015. So it's been around for like 5 years. So if we look at Ethereum on CoinGecko, and CoinGecko is still gatekeeping HEX, unbelievable. But if we look at it, so let's take a look here. So Ethereum has horrible price performance. So since over 2 years ago, January 13th, 2018, it's down 85.7% since its all-time high. So it doesn't really seem like it's performing well, or that it ever wants to like perform well price performance wise. We can have many theories about that, but probably a big theory is that you don't have that much incentive to kind of stake your coins or lock away your coins or something like that, as you have with the HEX smart contract. You also don't have a share price that always goes up in Ethereum, so you have less incentive to kind of hold Ethereum, or just to, because you can't earn interest on your ETH, or you can if you're using like some third party maybe, but you're not really earning that much, right? So HEX is better aligned to do these flippings, and if it would flip Ethereum, it would also flip Bitcoin Cash, EOS, USDT, XRP. I mean, all of these kind of coins there that currently is in the top 10, but I don't really see them as any competition. If you realize that just, I think in March, HEX was maybe a top 112 coin or something like that. And then in April, it became a top 50 coin. And now it's sitting at top 21 coin. It seems like it's a trend, right? It seems like it is a trend that it's going up there to the top. And when I'm looking at the numbers, it's like, yeah, just from the all-time high of HEX that happened, I think 2 weeks ago, if it would go up to that and then do a 10x from there, it would already be top to crypto. And what you have to understand about crypto is it's still a very, very new industry. So these top 10 coin are probably going to flip all the time to something, if something really, truly revolutionary comes, which I think HEX is, then it probably very, very easily can get into the top 10. So HEX seems like it's going to flip Binance Coin, Litecoin, Tezos, Bitcoin SV, Cardano, Chainlink, Stellar, OKB, and what more? Monero. I think we already done that once. And then we just have the giant left, right, the Bitcoin thing. But I think it's going to be easier to flip the Bitcoin thing and also get it into people's heads when they see that HEX actually can flip Ethereum. Because then it's only like, what is it from there, like an 8x or another 10x, and then it basically can flip the Ethereum and be the number one cryptocurrency in the whole world. And I don't think people understand like how fast HEX is kind of moving. I would say following this smart contract for 6 months, I would say it moves pretty fast. And it takes time, takes a lot of time for people to process that, yes, it actually moves pretty fast. And maybe you should pay attention to it, So yeah, it seemed, when I looked at these maybe a month ago, it was like, oh my God, we need to do 100x to kind of flip Ethereum. And that seemed pretty hard, right? But now it's like, okay, now it's only a 10x. A 10x seems more doable, right? And it's the same with Bitcoin. Like, okay, so let's just take Bitcoin pretty quick, 166 billion market cap. 166 billion market cap. And let's flip it. Let's count. Let's say we go up to 23 billion market cap and we flip Ethereum. How much more does it take to flip the Bitcoin? Well, it takes another 7.21x, which is, I mean, it's not really that much. And if we take, okay, so let's say this 0.064. Wait a sec, we have the numbers. Yeah, so we can take 166 billion Bitcoin market cap, and we can divide it by 367 billion coins if we have non-locked hex. What do we need to get up to? Oh, it's only 45 cents per hex. And that actually would flip it. That would actually flip it. So if you see a 45-cent hex, you basically have flipped Ethereum, or flipped the Bitcoin even. And from the all-time high, if we go to all-time high of hex, that would only be a 70x from the all-time high. I ran these numbers maybe 2 months ago, or like 1 month ago, or like something like that, and maybe it was probably maybe March or something like that, maybe. Then it was more like, oh, to flip the Bitcoin we need a 2000x, and now it is only from the all-time high it would be a 70x, and from the current prices it would basically be it would be 114x to flip the Bitcoin. So so a 10x from all-time high would flip the Bitcoin, or a 10x would flip the Ethereum from hex all-time high, and a 70x, another 70x there would kind of flip Bitcoin. So there's like a 7x between Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? And as I said in the past, like the higher up you go, it may be a bit more challenge to kind of keep climbing the charts. But then again, also you get more attention from big players the higher up you get, and then you may see bigger volume. So that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. So very, very exciting stuff, right? To be honest, like that is that's pretty fun numbers, I gotta say. And if we take, yeah, I mean, it's just fun numbers. So that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. So I think 2021 and 2022 looks like they can be really good years for HEX. Yeah, have an awesome day, YouTube.